Back from Once Upon a Time. This is episode 14 of season 5. Very excited as always to carry on, see what's going to happen next. Last episode I really enjoyed. We kind of had some focus on Hercules and Meg. We had like a one-off story for them, allowing them to move forward, seeing some backstory with Snow White alongside that, which I really enjoyed. And also to see Snow want to be called Snow again and kind of really embody that, which is a huge kind of thing for her character, which I wasn't expecting, but I'm absolutely here for. So I loved all of that. We had some shenanigans going on with Cruella and Henry. They're kind of potentially going to team up now, very unwillingly on Henry's part, but we'll see how that all plays out. Hook's also in a not so good situation with Hades, making him choose people to like stay in the Underworld if they keep saving people's souls, so that's not ideal either. But yeah, I'm really excited about where this arc's heading, because, you know, the 2 episodes we've kind of had in it so far properly have been really, really good. So yes, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. You know, are we going to have another person to save this week? Is it going to be, you know, more like a main plotline kind of thing about the main characters? Is Peter Pan going to show up? That's what I'm really wondering, because I want more of him. But either way, I'm excited, so let's get into the next one.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I must say, I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
Oh no, that's much worse. Makes sense. Oh. He really dropped the ball on that spell. Ha!
So how do we get a helpful dead person to loan their aura so we can confront the god of the Underworld himself?
You leave that to me. I've got someone in mind.
Who?
Mila! You don't have to be doing this yourself.
Oh. Well, that's going to be awkward. I don't know what you were thinking, playing with a snake.
How'd you find me?
You are standing in the middle of Main Street, so you know. I do love the irony of your job. You, watching children, keeping them safe, keeping them close.
What do you want?
I have an opportunity for you. A romantic adventure.
I mean, you're one to talk.
Can you stand helping me if I let you save him?
Didn't mention that he's in love with someone else now, but that's fine.
Feel free to go.
Big fan of whispering, this guy, isn't he?
You've been with my former lover and my son. Is that right?
Oh, Once Upon a Time. What are you like? I wonder if Belfire will really die. Now.
We'll get our cure anyway. You'll go back and take it.
Take it?
He can't kill you if you get him first.
I mean, you could also have a go.
Your son, Neil, Belfire. When I was on my way down here on the
I was wondering if she'd tell her that.
sort of a vision of him, and that he was happy.
Aww.
Whatever he had to resolve, he did it. Thank you. I see you admiring my fur. Doe-skin of all things. I'm not saying it's Bambi's iconic dead mother. And I'm not saying it's not. Just tell me about the graveyard.
Oh,
If I
God.
find this stone, if it's tipped over, it means their soul has gone on to a better place. Okay? Happy person, Dippy Stone. And the third stone.
I'm not leaving the boat. It's too valuable. You're capable of getting the pirate on your own, I'm sure.
Whatever you say.
Faye only has a couple of hours left. Let's spend that time doing something to help him, something brave.
Make him brave with the power of being horny. I was wondering if this was going to be where they meet.
I'm going to pay her a better man than I is one. I am important quite often. Should that ever
Bet you are. You don't immediately shout as soon as you get in. I'd be terrible at this. And yet. Where's Hades, though?
My unfinished business was never Killian.
Then why?
It's Palefire. Our son.
So you want to move on?
Yeah. So I can see him.
As a grown man, he re-entered my life and he forgave me. He'll do the same for you.
That's a nice thought.
Very nice of him to say as well, oddly.
I really want to see him again.
Tell him hello from his papa.
I kind of like those two potentially being on good terms again, though. Before she goes to the storybook in the sky. Oh, does he just give it to him because he's that desperate?
How much does your son mean to you? We can make a deal.
Oh. Ah, baby's first deal.
Much about deals, but
Oh.
a deal. Let's chat.
I don't like any deal that those two could have. That's who I thought it was going to be.
He's moved on. He's happy.
Oh. You never forget your first.
Daniel. You were my first love, Daniel. And you will always live in my heart. I just needed to know you were okay.
Oh. Like, that's still such a driving force for her, even after, like, season 1.
Yes.
But it's such different kind of
You know, I'm
thing with her now.
yours. I need you to sink that boat you found because it's their way out of here.
Oh dear.
I thought, if I kill to save my son, then my son grows up with a murderer, a monster as a father.
Oh, we can't have that.
What did you give him?
I signed the paper promising him my second-born child.
You sold our future.
Oh,
Our family.
I mean, that isn't ideal, but otherwise your son would be dead. You do have a family, but she can have that future if she goes off the hook, so... I mean, it's still not really an excuse to leave the kid you had, you know?
congratulations, dearie.
Oh dear. Fuck. Son of a bitch. The true snake in this episode isn't the one that bit Bellfire.
What's wrong with it? It's hurt. I can't stand.
Aww. Hey.
Regina, what are you doing? Just checking. I'm back.
Oh, nice. She just need to find some peace herself, I guess. Even though she didn't need to move on.
Look at you.
She did.
OUAT to give you back your power. I should kill you. Acknowledged.
Yeah, you have no idea how much you should kill him.
You helped get me out of there, so I should say. Thank you. No need. Stay of execution. We're even. For now. We're sorry you lost her. She made me who I am.
Can't believe you stopped her from seeing her son again.
Okay.
Yes, she abandoned the son, but still.
Way out, but
Uh-oh.
What was that? Interesting.
what the hell? Well, it looks like he did the picking himself.
Oh.
What does this mean? It
Means he's sexist.
I got the pirate out in the day. But you lots managed to find a whole new way to fail. the shop.
The nerve of that man.
Peekaboo!
Oh.
Some places never change.
Oh dear.
You owe me. I owe you. That's right, but I can't owe a debt to a dead man.
Yeah, I don't know what you're expecting to happen there, pal.
I don't like debts. I won't tell you that I liked it because I didn't. Not in any way that matters. And I'll never do anything like that again. Wow.
Sure.
You really mean that? You tried to hide something from me. You asked the crystal ball to show you your child. This is an image of your child. Your next child.
Oh shit, she's pregnant.
Remember him?
Oh, you played yourself.
Here's the contract, which he just signed over to me. I can cash in the debt.
Fuck.
Take
He's got you by the balls.
There's something I need you to do that only you can do.
No, he's serious. He's got the bad CGI hair. Okay, another really great episode. I'm very excited for, the constant twists and turns, and the different kind of power struggle, I guess, the levels of power that are just going back and forth in this one. You think, they've got Hook away from Hades, that's good. But then he's kind of there watching over them, and then you think Gold's kind of at the top of his game, doing all his shenanigans, and then we pull that twist at the end, and now Hades has the upper hand on him. I like that kind of power struggle. And I'm hoping now that I think Gold is going to need a bit of a helping hand to get out of this sticky situation. He might need to turn to dear old dad and get some help from Peter Pan, which would bring more Peter Pan into it. And I'm all for that. So I'm hoping that's going to happen. That's exciting. But man, I feel like a lot went down, and it's only episode 14, so God knows what else they have in store. I also like that they actually managed to save Hook pretty early on in proceedings. I thought that was going to take a lot longer, and I'm actually glad it didn't, because I don't want them to drag that out for so long. Like, they still haven't found him yet. So that was cool, and there were like some real stakes and sacrifices to that. The whole situation with Mila, damn, that's brutal. I mean, I don't know how to feel about it, because I am done with Gold's bullshit, but at the same time, at least he did get instant karma for it this time around, and he is now suffering for his misdeeds. And I do think he has some regrets about that whole situation with Mila, I think, and what he had to do there. Well, he didn't have to do it, so I'm not gonna praise him for feeling bad about it, because he didn't really have to do it. But yeah, I like that there was a bit of like, ooh, I'm never doing anything like that again. And Hades was like, oh wow, you're serious. So I think even he maybe saw like, I've gone too far there. And then on top of that, I think some of his actions and his desperation was he clearly realised that Belle was pregnant, I guess, at the start of the episode when he saw her in the crystal ball. So now he's like, I literally have to do anything to get home. And that includes sending Mila to the bad place, the genuine bad place. So that's kind of brutal for her, but also, I don't think that the flashbacks, everything we saw, I don't think it's still like reason enough for her to like leave her son. Like, she may never have had another kid anyway, and I get like she feels like she's very restricted by what Gold did, making his deal, while Rumple did, making the deal back then, like the second child and everything. And that would make maybe a future with Hook more appealing, because she could have another kid with him or a family with him if she wanted to. And she wouldn't have to give the kid up to anyone. But she still like just cured, her son from this otherwise fatal sickness. And the first thing she does is piss off. I'm just like, I felt like they tried to show a bit of like a reasoning for why she left properly, to try and make it seem a bit less like, oh yeah, she was a terrible mother and left in that moment because she fell out of love with Rumple. You know, you can just break up with him and still be a mum. You know, you don't have to just run off with some other guy and be a pirate and like not stay with your son. So, you know, I don't think she's necessarily forgiven for that. I do think Belfire would have forgiven her in person though, and I do think Gold is right about that. And I really liked that scene with the two of them in the boat when they were talking about Bay, and she was like, that's probably the thing that's keeping me here. You know, she wants to make amends with him, or like if she can pass on, she'd want to like apologise to him. And I liked Gold actually offering some reassurance to that, being like, well, he forgave me, he'll certainly forgive you, because he, you know, bit of a hypocrite to kind of hold that against Mila really, where he also then chose magic over his son and dropped him into a portal. But you know, it's a very messy family. Every family is messy once upon a time, as this episode properly explored with Mila being like, you've been with my son and my ex. That was hilarious, because it's such a complicated family tree at this point, and I like that they just take the piss out of that and they're very self-aware of it. Because it is a hot mess, really, everything going on with that. So I thought that was interesting. And to just bring Mila back into it all was quite cool. Even if that was quite the fate for her. Because I think that's probably just it now. I don't think there's any getting her out of that situation. So damn, she's never going to make amends with Bay. He's just up in heaven or whatever, forever waiting for his mum. Man, and what if, like, if Gold ever dies and, like, somehow gets to the good place, shall we say, he's going to be pissed at, like, Bay, sure he's going to be pissed at him. He'd be like, oh, I thought Mum would be here by now. Like, oh yeah, about that. I sent her to hell and she's never getting out of that. That wouldn't be quite a blissful reunion, really, would it? But, yeah, I liked the twists and turns with that, and, you know, I'm done with Gold's BS, essentially, but I do still really like the character and how complicated he is. And it's not just like, oh, I'm evil again, I've lied to Belle yet again, same old song. Now there's going to be true consequences to it that's going to actually negatively impact him, and maybe be like, this is the final thing now, because there's a baby involved. I loved that reveal, how they played that out, and the fact that Belle's pregnant. And, you know, I probably should have guessed, because they leaned into the whole second child thing a lot, but it wasn't just an excuse for, like, Mila even to, you know, head off with Hook. Like talk about a restricted future for them and stuff, but it also then tied into the present day plot line, and now Hades has that contract off the guy. I like how that all kind of came into play, and yeah, just has Gold by the balls now, and how he's going to try and get out of that, because I'm sure he almost ultimately will. I'm excited to see, especially if Peter Pan plays into that. That'd be great. But I always do find it rewarding when Gold is finally called out and gets karma for all his nonsense. I don't think it happens nearly enough, so I'm glad that it's actually, this is a big deal, and hopefully there's going to be some growth for him. Although he's had growth before, and then he's immediately just turned evil again after like 3 episodes, so I don't know if I can really trust that. But, you know, this is, you know, something a bit different with the baby involved. So I liked the whole plot line with that going on. In a way I feel bad for Mila, because, you know, the whole thing with her wanting to, like, apologise to Bay and everything was really nice, and that scene with her and Gold talking was probably my favourite part of the episode. But then he was like, well, yeet, into hell you go, and he yeeted her into hell, quite literally. And like the flashbacks kind of explaining everything with the deal they made to save him. It's always a thing, like, when someone's in danger in the past, and like, well, we know Belfire doesn't die here, so there's like no real tension there. So I'm glad it wasn't just a simple plot line like that. It was also, you know, it was tying into more problems for the characters in the present day stuff. It wasn't just, you know, screen time for the sake of screen time's sake. Like, we know that their marriage broke down and she fell out of love with him and everything, and that he was a coward and stuff like that. So the fact that it wasn't just like a filler plot line, it did have consequences for present day stuff, while also having Mila in the past and the present day stuff. I thought that was very cleverly done. And yeah, the stakes are high for Gold now, and I'm glad he's actually suffering for his actions a bit at long last. So yes, that should be really interesting to see where all that goes. It's a very sticky, messy situation. And when people find out what Gold did to Mila, I think that's not going to be great, because, like, you know, we had Hook saying, well, we're even, for now, and I think the finale ends when they find out about what he did to Mila. Mila, I keep forgetting how to pronounce her name. Mila, whatever. So yeah, crazy times with that, but very exciting. And hopefully, the fact that Belle is the pregnant one, they don't just make it all about Gold's storyline and actually give Belle some screen time, which she just doesn't have. So that'll be, fingers crossed. Yeah, I don't think I actually said it, but when she appeared in the crystal ball at the start, I was like, well, that's her main cast's bit of screen time there. Just have her asleep on the bed for a bit, and technically she's in the episode, so there you go. But hopefully this will kind of bring her back to the forefront, because, you know, as complicated and great a character Gold is, I think they do make the relationship more so about Gold than actually giving Belle stuff to do a lot of the time. So hopefully that can shift the focus a bit, and, you know, she's the one that maybe has to deal with this baby, deal with all the shenanigans that Gold's been up to yet again. But I think they're just going to have to be like, well, I guess you're going to need to be in my life because I'm having your kid, and I don't want, you know, I don't want my son or daughter to not know their father or whatever. It's probably going to be that reason that they have to stay together. But yeah, gonna get messy, but I'm kind of here for it. So I'm excited about all of that. I'm glad we kind of got Hook out of that situation as well, and see the dynamics with him in the team as we continue on. I like that he did call out Gold as well for the bullshit. It's become the Dark One again and everything. He's like, I should just bloody kill you. And maybe he still will, we'll see. But it's nice that he's not particularly suffering anymore. To see how he was as well in the old days when he first met Mila. Kind of the start of that relationship is quite an interesting thing to see. Him absolutely refusing to carve those names into the gravestones. So Hades just took it upon himself to do that. Because I think that also helped Hades as a character as well. Even though I'm really enjoying Hades, and you know the actor's doing a great job, like chewing the scenery and like, I'm going to whisper every single line and make it dramatic as fuck. He nails it. So I enjoy that side. But I think, you know, we had like, oh, I could destroy the boat myself, but I want you to do it, Gold. And it's like, you know, you're this whole powerful thing. Why are you just telling people to do other things instead of just doing it for yourself? So I'm glad that when he was like, well, I probably could just like damn these people and write their names on these gravestones, but I want you to do it, Hook. I'm glad that when, yet again, someone refused, he actually did then do it himself. Like, okay, so he does have the balls to actually follow through on his threats and his plan. So that helps him as a villain as well. So that's cool. And that just adds more stake to things, I guess, now that Emma, Regina and Snow, I think it was, are all like doomed to stay in the Underworld. Obviously it's not going to happen, but yeah, I'm excited to see a bit more of that and how they're going to wiggle their way out of that sticky situation. Who's probably going to have to go in their place? Probably just some of the villains that we've met so far. Maybe even trick Gold to getting his name on there. You know, names, getting Rumpelstiltskin's name on something, on an object of some kind. It's often a big deal in the show, so maybe it'll be an ironic final end to him when he gets his name on that grave. Or, you know, Cruella could get her name on there and they can like trick her somehow. They could trick Peter Pan somehow. The Blind Witch, and that might be how they get out of it. Somehow some of the villains just end up on there. Or can they like write Hades' name himself on there? That'd be quite an interesting way for him to go. If they defeat him that way, I think that'd be quite a nice ironic ending. But I feel like he's going to be sticking around until near the end of the season yet, so anything can happen. The number of twists and turns in this one alone, like, God knows how it's actually all going to wrap up. So yes, I liked that they kind of imposed the threat of Hades even more. Seeing a bit more of how the Underworld works and how it's structured with like the River of Lost Souls and everything was quite an interesting idea. I like all of that. Yeah, the Gold and Mila stuff was interesting. Cruella, I just like having her presence back. I'm hoping we get a bit more of like the storyline with her and Henry in this one. You know, she was out and about, but they didn't really address what's going on with her and Henry right now. So I'm excited to go back to that, but I did like that she was interacting with some other characters again, like her and Regina interacting again. The fact that she is the mayor of the Underworld now, and she was telling Regina a bit about how the gravestones worked for her little side story, which I will talk about later, because I bloody loved that. So all of that was really cool and interesting, and I liked her presence again, and I'm glad we are getting her back in this storyline. And yeah, just the idea of like making deals and what something's worth. I think that was an interesting theme that they explored in this one. They often do that, you know, they make like a nod, wink, wink joke when it comes to like Rumple making deals before he was Rumpelstiltskin and everything. They're like joking about that. It is a recurring gag at this point. But I like how, you know, a deal from his past, even before he became the Dark One, has now come back to haunt him as the Dark One. I thought that was quite an interesting thing. And it was like, oh, what is it worth for you to get home to Belle? And then back in the day, it was like, what is your son worth to you? Your son's life. So like, there's still kind of stakes no matter what timeline's going on with Gold and his children, and he now has another one on the way. So there's kind of some parallels there, which I thought were quite interesting. So I like how they explored that whole theme throughout the episode, that kind of plot thread. It does put Gold in a very interesting position going forward as a character, and he might actually get to pay for some of the nonsense he's come up with this season. So I'm excited about the future for that and where that could potentially go. And then, yeah, we had a little subplot for Regina in this one, which I really loved. Again, they didn't need to do this at all, but I think it was such a nice thing for Regina's character. And yet again, we know it, we love it, showcasing how far Regina's come. You know, season 1 Regina, all her motivations were driven by Daniel. That was like her plot line, you know, that's why she wanted to ruin Snow White's happiness and everything. It was all down to Daniel, that was her motivation. And again, her motivation in this one was Daniel, but it wasn't in such an antagonistic way. It wasn't to like try and ruin someone's life or anything. It was just to check if, you know, the man she lost is actually okay and he's somewhere else and he's happy. I love that, and how she was like working it out, trying to find them. I like that Snow came along to help her find Daniel's grave, and the fact that he has moved on to, you know, the good place, was really nice. And again, it's not a story that it needed to do, but I like that it just shows again how much Regina's changed and how far she's come, and the fact that her motivations regarding Daniel and her actions are motivated by Daniel here and way back in season 1, that hasn't really changed. You know, she's healed from so much of that pain and resentment that she had in season 1, and now it's a much like kinder motivation in regards to like Daniel and his death and everything. She's just checking he's alright. You know, she was saying he's her first love, he's always going to have a place in her heart. I really liked that sentiment. I think that was really nice, and I think her kind of getting some closure in that sense and moving on in that sense in this whole kind of, you know, Underworld, where moving on is kind of been a big deal for people moving on to like a better or worse place. Poor Mila, whatever. The fact that, you know, Regina is still alive and still managed to find a way to move on in the Underworld, I thought was really clever. And, you know, finding peace with that seems to have unlocked her magic again. She can use it again in the Underworld, which is a great bit of development for her character as well. You know, they could have just very easily had it so that her magic just worked when they got there. But I like that they had this kind of little sub-story going on, and it was really nice, and a lovely little bit of character moment for Regina that I just adored. I thought that subplot was really great. That was one of my favourite kind of B or C plots in an episode, probably in a very long time. It was only really a couple of little scenes, and it's probably like 3 or 4 minutes screen time in the entire episode, really. But it was such impactful, and again, that is a subplot 5 seasons in the making. You know, you couldn't have had that impact with it if you didn't have everything in season 1 regarding, you know, Daniel and the flashbacks with him. So I love that the show isn't afraid of its history and keeps delving back into that, especially with a plotline like this and all these dead characters around. You kind of have to lean into the history a bit. So I like that. This plotline in particular, it just feels like a celebration of like Once Upon a Time's best bits, their best characters, their best storylines, all in one newer storyline wrapped around the idea of Hades and the Underworld and stuff. But it doesn't just feel like, oh, look how successful our show is, look at all these great characters we have. It doesn't feel like that. It does feel like a natural progression in terms of where the story could go, because there are new ideas being interpreted into it, like Belle being pregnant and stuff. Obviously it's not particularly unique, like Rumple struggling with Belle and Rumple struggling with kids and everything, but it's something a bit more of a challenge to his character that I'm excited to see a bit more of. And then, yeah, that nice payoff with Regina and Daniel, that was all really sweet. I loved how they did that and how they handled it. And yeah, I guess we have to wait and see what on earth's going to happen next with that. But really, really great episode yet again. I'm loving this arc quite a bit, and I'm excited for more twists and turns, please. These episodes have been really strong in this arc in particular. Hopefully they can keep that up. The fact that they've already kind of got Hook back in the group, I think if he gets kidnapped again or whatever, it'd be like, oh. But the fact that he is back already, and we still have, what episode is this, 14? I think we've got 9 episodes left of the season, I think. The fact that that's still the case, and he's already back, it feels like they have so much more planned for this story arc, just beyond like having to save Hook. Because why they came here, you know, that's done now. But they can't do the spell to like split Emma's heart and share it with Hook to kind of keep him and like bring him back to life or whatever. Now, you know, a couple of them are doomed to stay in the Underworld, so they have to sort that out. I like the natural progression of the arc, and it's not just like, for this half season, we're going to go and save Hook from the Underworld. That's kind of what it would have appeared to be at the end of episode 11 or whatever, but so much else has already happened in just 3 episodes. Been really great. So we had the 100th episode, which I adored. The Hercules episode last time was also really great, and this one's fantastic as well. So I'm really excited about the future of this arc in particular and where they're heading with it. Hopefully we'll get back to focusing on like the Henry and Cruella thing at some point as well. But yeah, lots to explore, lots of familiar faces coming back that I really enjoy. You know, the whole plot with Gold and Mila, all of that is very, very messy, and I think you can take everyone's side and everything in regards to that. Because I don't think it necessarily redeems Mila for leaving Bay at all in my eyes. If anything, it makes it worse. But did she deserve that ultimate fate when she's clearly had a bit of growth during her time in the Underworld? And it was out of desperation, I think, on Gold's side to try and get back to his new baby. So yeah, it's all complicated, and now that he's going to be forced to work for Hades, how's that going to go? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, really great episode, very excited for more, and until my next reaction, thanks for watching.